Hope you're all still awake. Late Night Mega here. And last time we took on the first couple stages of Wily's Fortress. Actually, if we do the next couple stages, all we would have left is the final Wily battle and then the credits. Now, I might just finish this up today, because this Wily Castle, as I mentioned last time, is not really that long. I probably could have even done this stage in addition to the previous two and still kept the last video under like 12 minutes. That's how short these stages are. And then we would be able to have the rematches in Wily in the final. Okay. Oh, I can't magnetize to the grenades there. Slide under here. Like, how much damage do you expect to be taking by this point? And what is that Hammer Joe doing up there? There's no reason for me to ever go up there. That's really silly design. Now this is actually kind of threatening. Just want to take those guys down quickly. I need to have their shades open for whatever reason. This is a really interesting room, interesting concept. I'd like to have seen more done with this, but I like that sort of platforming and trickery puzzle. Of course, there's all sorts of glitchiness that can happen in there. I'm not going to be demonstrating that. Especially glitchiness involving, like, Rush and Rush Jet. And I determined those goodies were worth it, so we punched the wall in the face, and now we're going to kill this boss incredibly quickly. So it's a clone of Mega Man. Every time they're weak to Search Snake, search out the correct one. Dang. The first time it appears, it's always the top one that is the real one. The other two are just kind of clones. You can walk through them, you can shoot through them. They can damage you, you can't damage them. And then after the first round, they'll teleport away, and then it'll be random which row has the real one. And as you can see, a Search Snake kills them really quickly. They have no invincibility frames. That's the big issue with that boss. So even with the Buster, I believe the Buster does 2 damage. The Buster might only do 1 damage. Even if it only does 1 damage, you can get a ton of damage in if you find the correct clone right away. We have these junk golems, the worst enemy in Mega Man 3. As you can see, they're insanely difficult to try and dodge their huge projectile. And they like to just spawn very rapidly. And this is the only place you see them. Like a lot of Mega Man 3 enemies, they appear in one place and that's it. Hey, it's Snake Man. Let's do something interesting. We're going to use their own weapons against them, because I have heard that for the Robot Masters in Mega Man 3, they're all weak to their own respective weapons. And I've never actually done this before, where I've used their own weapons against them every single time, on every single one. This could be a problem, though. This is why top spin is not good to use. Okay, dude, this is just gonna get me killed. Let's just punch him in the face. We attempted to use top spin. That is the issue with trying to use top spin on bosses. Or use top spin in general. I am frozen. Please don't tell me. For a moment when I was playing, I'm like, please don't tell me I just caused a glitch and locked up this game. Oh, it's Shadow Man. This is not who I wanted to see when I'm sitting at half health. Hey, you are going to be weak to Shadow Blade. Well, I just said everything is weak to its own weapon. You couldn't do this the first time fighting these guys for obvious reasons, so... Yeah, and there's Magnet Man, who now apparently has 3 weaknesses: Spark Shot, Magnet Missile, and Shadow Blade. this is a funny concept, but I'm kind of glad that the Mega Man series did not persist in this concept of having Robot Masters weak to their own weapon. And yes, we just had some hot magnet on magnet action there. Thought we were done with that, didn't we? Stop dodging my needles. I think he got the point. Well, we're gonna put a shock to his system. Maybe. That was supposed to be a slide. That's okay, it's Sparkman and he's already dead. Oh, it's Gemini Man. This one could get tricky if I end up missing, and then the laser starts going bouncy all over the room. Or we just do that, and it's really easy. And now it's time to punch Hardman in the face. Yeah, take that, and that, and that. We're both just punching each other. Punches. That was hardly a fair fight. Now we do need to fill up Hard Knuckle. Actually, what other weapons do we need here for Final Wily? Hard Knuckle. we need Snakes, we need Top, we need Rush Jet, and we need Spark. We technically don't even need Top. Although it is technically the final weakness, I prefer not to use it for the same reason I didn't like using Top Spin against Top Man. And magnets, because we don't need them anymore. But everything we do need is sufficiently full. Okay, so this machine looks really intimidating and really kind of interesting. However, it is lacking in iframes, which means it's just going to die really quickly. As is this phase. This is where Rush Jet comes into play. The technical weakness here is actually Hard Knuckle. But you can just do this. You can kill that even quicker if you just hold the rapid fire button. So much for Wily Machine. Oh, it's a fake. Who didn't see this coming? Yes, another throwback to Mega Man 2. So we have another final stage, where we just have, like, finally... Okay, why would I ever need these health fill-ups? You gave us health. Like, we have a full bar of health coming in here. How could we possibly get damaged? How could we possibly need that health? We'll take the E-Tank. And, yeah, I guess we'll fill up the Rush Jet. They could be useful in the final fight. I'm going to start with Rush Coil. You'll see why in a moment. And this is Gamma, that peacekeeping robot, who looks like he's got the body of Guts Man, because of course. But weaknesses being Hard Knuckle. Another weakness is Shadow Blade. You can just stand underneath them and take them out like that. But I prefer punching him in the face. Yeah, peacekeeping robot, just punch it in the face. And then there's Wily, and so we can defeat him by dropping snakes into his cockpit, or by using Top Spin. I don't prefer Top Spin for all the reasons I've already stated, so snakes it is. I can usually hit him a lot better with the snakes than I am here. There we go. And now we're standing on top of Wily's feet, so he cannot move. So we just moonwalk. Okay. And dodging has become overrated, apparently. Oh, you spelled Wily wrong too there. So, who was that saved us? That whistle. It was Proto Man, aka Breakman. I don't know why he was called Breakman. By Dr. Wright. Great. See, I told you these guys weren't created by Dr. Wily. Or Wily, if you want to throw an extra E in there. But anyways, time for my final review of Mega Man 3. I do really enjoy this game. Some aspects get a little bit easy, especially the Wily Castle there. All the stages being super short. But I did like the challenge of the Doc Robot stages. I always found that to be one of the more difficult things to do in the Mega Man series, especially when I was a kid, and I'd have to try and get to and beat a boss before I would even get to checkpoint, and then you had like forced utility usage and just all sorts of problems. Because when you die off, and then you got to grind to re-get the weapon energy, and yeah. The Robot Masters were pretty challenging, especially if you go at them with just Buster only. Shadow Blade is a little bit... It's a little bit too strong, and it's too effective against multiple Robot Masters again, so kind of like another throwback to Metal Blade, and not having like the true rock, paper, scissors weakness chain. But overall, I really like how the precision of the controls increased in this game, and the precision of the platforming. I thought that was well done. I don't have too much bad to say about this game. Some of the weapons are really bad. Spark Shock is like one of the worst weapons in Mega Man history. Kind of bad that we could actually debate that. But it's like, what are you going to do with Spark Shock outside of boss battles? Like, seriously. I mean, Ice Slasher is a strictly better version of it. I don't know why it couldn't have just acted like that. Other terrible weapons would include, well, Top Spin. And I would also throw Needle Cannon on there because it's really not different from the Buster. Other than, you know, damage to certain bosses. And, well, it was presented by Capcom. I think we're kind of stuck on the screen, so we'll go back to the main screen. We'll check out the database and the museum real quick. At some point. But overall, it's a Mega Man game. I enjoyed it. And I hope you guys did too. And drop a save just in case I quit. Okay, we got the golden head. We've completed this. As you can see, some of the names and the health values, weaknesses, all these things. That's electric caviar. See, the monkey is weak to top spin. Magnets for those, huh? Gemini laser. I wouldn't recommend that. They send out tops and they would nullify the laser. Cat is weak to being punched in the face. I think there's better things you could use. But anyways, on the topic of bad weapons in the Mega Man series, Super Arm is also pretty bad just because it's so situational on when you can even use it. You have to have those specific blocks that can even be picked up in order to use it, otherwise it just does absolutely nothing. And Hyper Bomb is also really bad. I would still rank Spark Shock worse than those. Well, You know, I think I'd rank, if we're talking about the ability to fight bosses, I would rank Spark Shock higher than Hyper Bomb. There's a picture of Doc Robot. No official weakness since it depended on what spirit of the Mega Man 2 Robot Master it had. See? Weak to being punched in the face. Weak to snakes. Yeah, no kidding. We demonstrate that. Proto Man weak to Hard Knuckle. Interesting. Gamma weak to Top Spin, and here's the official weaknesses in Spark Shock, but Shadow Blade worked just as well. Alright, and let's check out the museum. There's actually some cool art when we get further down here. A lot of these are some of the same pictures you saw when we were going through the database there. Minus some of them with Mega Man using the weapons. We'll see some box art cover. Oh, there's a... Yeah, see, there's a picture of Wily and Light coming together. What else do we have? Pictures of Rush, but actually towards the bottom of this, you're gonna see there's some unused Top Spin. That looks kind of silly. Some unused boss ideas, Robot Master ideas. Some of them I find are pretty interesting. Other designs for Proto Man there. I like the way he turned out. Unused enemy. Unused Rush concept. I wonder what they would have done with that. Rush with a drill coming out of his mouth. I would have liked to have seen that implemented. If not in this game, just somewhere. Other possible attacks for the Wily Machine. We got... What else do we got? Unused boss sketches. Here we go. Vacuum Man. Well, we don't have a Vacuum Man exactly. We do have Dust Man, which kind of functions very similarly. Dash Man kind of reminds me of Nitro Man from Mega Man 10. And granted, I get that they used 8 here, but I'm wondering why they didn't use some of these in the future games. Like Vacuum Man and Smoke Man and whatever this is. That looks interesting. Hello, Storm Eagle. That is totally Storm Eagle. That is, I don't... Oh my gosh, that is just bizarre. Some of these I'm glad they did not use. That one looked like it could have been concept art for Feral Man there. Alright, well, with that, we're going to put Mega Man 3 to bed. And this has been Late Night Mega. Good night, everyone.